Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. And there's some interesting stuff going on wowhead.com with some new data mine things pertaining to ZOTH and the end of patch 8.3's raid, ny'alotha, the Waking City. But I don't really know how to feel about it just yet. So let me just give you a quick rundown, before even that, let you know that there's pretty huge spoilers in this video. They've released a video of what happens at the end of the raid, and it looks like what would be referred to as a WIP cinematic, which is work in progress, just not entirely finished. And in this cinematic, we will witness the fate of ZOTH. But if you guys have been keeping up with the other data mine things, well, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. I want to say before we jump into this, there are a couple things that I find a little bit weird about this whole situation. Because essentially, and here's where spoilers are going to begin if you're not aware, as we've progressed through this raid, apparently we come across Ra-Den, who was the High Keeper of the keepers that were made by the Titan Pantheon. He is one of Aman'Thul, which is the supposed leader of the Pantheon, and what I believe is basically the god of time. Seemingly has power over lightning as well, though Golganeth seems to have that. But anyway, Ra-Den is one of his keepers. Now, Ra-Den, unlike a lot of the other keepers like Freya and Odin and Loken, decided to go down to the southern regions of Kalimdor back before it was completely split apart by the Sundering after what the elves did with Ashara. He decided to go to the southern reaches of Kalimdor. And down there, he helped to establish certain Titan facilities like the ones we see in Uldum and the ones we see in Pandaria. That is to say that Ra-Den, and it says this in Chronicle, and I'm pretty sure that Magni mentions this as well, Ra-Den is the one who installed the Forge of Origination in Uldum. If you guys don't know, the Forge of Origination is a forge that has a massive amount of power that, when the world falls to corruption, is able to essentially wipe the world of life to save it from disorder and corruption. So it seems a little bit hypocritical initially already that the Titans want to save life, but then they implement instruments on planets that would wipe out life. Now, with that said, the Mechanomes of Mechagon and King Mechagon decided that they were going to follow in the footsteps of the Titans, and they were going to essentially bring about the perfect image that they believed the Titans wanted us to be. And with their re-origination, according to what is said with some of their dialogue throughout the questing in Mechagon, it would seem that the re-origination would not just completely wipe out life, but anything that used to be a Titan construct, like a Titan forged, like humans and things like that, would return to being Titan forged. They would not be wiped out. Things that used to be Titan constructs would go back to their original state, and everything else gets completely dusted. The Forge of Origination was installed by Ra-Den. I would assume then that another huge piece of Titan machinery, the engine of Nalak-Shah, was also installed by Ra-Den. Okay, so Ra-Den literally helped to champion the installation of two of the most powerful Titan artifacts or Titan machinery, Titan weapons on our entire planet. But it would seem that Mother comes to the conclusion through her analysis whilst in the heart chamber that the engine of Nalak-Shah can actually be used to bolster the power of the Forge of Origination. And Ra-Den didn't know that. I think that's a little bit weird. Because from what I've been able to tell, at least up until recently, the more advanced and powerful keepers and constructs of the Titans were beings like Ra-Den and Odin and Loken, right? And Freya and Mimiron. But it would seem that one of the more robotic constructs of the Titans, Mother, keeper of one of the keepers of the Uldir, really the one who was kind of behind the controlling of all of the testing with Gahun and the old god corruption there, is the one who figures this out. Now, you guys know how I feel about the Titans. You know how I feel about A&R. And I just think that it's weird that one of the constructs named Mother, who has basically been working with this allegedly corrupted King of Diamonds, Magni, who's apparently been made a pawn, not necessarily corrupted, but he's been made a pawn, knows how to link these forges that Ra-Den helped install, but doesn't understand how to do it himself. And he points out that that's pretty amazing that can be done. And he's kind of admirative of Mother because of it. But anyway, this is what happens. We essentially, using our Heart of Azeroth as an anchor point, create a transdimensional rip in time and space in order to link the heart chamber of Azeroth to the location of N'Zoth in his final raid room. So not only are we opening this gateway and allowing access to the heart chamber from N'Zoth, but the beam of re-origination, I assume we could call it, comes out of the heart chamber. The floor of the heart chamber opens up and a massive beam flies out through it. It is coalesced behind us, the player, and we basically shoot it at N'Zoth. So this is the cinematic, and then we're going to talk about it. This is on Wowhead. I'll have a link to this in the description. It doesn't have any audio, by the way, so just be aware of that. I'm just going to voice what's happening. Enough. Your mind, your will are mine. I'm just going to voice it over because why not? Warning, hero unit corruption levels approaching 100%. So we're the hero unit, apparently. You got to keep fighting, champion! Cool, zoom in. Thanks, Magni. Appreciate the motivational speech. Don't listen to his lies! You don't belong to him! And then we see our Azerite, Heart of Azeroth, start floating up in the air. Notice the new anchor point acquired. Weapon ready. So, notice how the eyes of these Titan constructs in here are red. That's pretty interesting. But here we have this transdimensional portal. I like how this is like, how this looks up here. There's like cracks of gold, almost like light, and then these shadows kind of seeping through. But you can see we've kind of opened this transdimensional portal to N'Zoth. Well then, what are you waiting for? Okay, and you see all of this Azerite, all of this giant beam of light, basically, coming through another dimension. Now, it's basically being funneled through us and our Heart of Azeroth, right? Pretty epic little cinematic. Boom! We're blasting N'Zoth. He has this big thing on his head exploding, and then it fades to white, and that's the end of the cinematic. Does this remind you guys of anything? We got several beams, not just from the heart chamber. We got several beams coalescing into this one massive beam. And then through, essentially, a funnel of power, this giant beam of white energy with some black in there. There's a little bit of what looks like shadow and some gold. Does this remind you guys of anything? Yeah? Okay, well it should, because what it reminds me of is, it reminds me of this. So we have this funneling. We have this funneling of power from multiple conduits. They link together to make one giant beam, primarily comprised of what I can only tell is light. And we're shooting it at a big, dark, evil being who has flames literally coming out of their head and their beard and everything. So when I watch this N'Zoth cinematic and I see us shooting this giant beam of what appears to be like light at this entity whose head is also literally got flame coming out of it. Which, by the way, I thought this is so weird, man. Am I the only one who sees N'Zoth's appearance and just is like, what the fuck? Compared to the other old gods, what the fuck is this? What is that? Why does he have flame coming out of his head? Because it wasn't depicted that way in the Hearthstone art. Everything else is the same, but that's not. His red eyes are not the same either, but he has this flaming eye, which I don't know what's going on here. If this is slowly being corrupted by shadow, or I don't know. I don't understand what this is meant to what this is meant to symbolize. But I just wanted to point this out, that this little fucking beam of this god beam of light that we're fucking shooting at him, we've kind of seen something similar to that before, just on a grander scale. So let's take a look at this other cinematic. This is after the raid, and this is what Magni has to say about it. Since being wounded by the Mad Titan, Azeroth has been crying out in pain. In her hour of need, she lent you her power. Today, at long last, she is free from the grasp of the old gods. Her song rings clear and strong throughout this chamber. Hold her heart with pride. Know that you're more than just a champion of your people. You are a champion of Azeroth. Wow, that was it. So, according to Magni, the corruption of the old gods has been eliminated. It's been exterminated, guys. It's all good. It's all safe, fine, and dandy. My fucking nutsack it is. Couple things here that I have like huge problems with. If the engine of Nalek Shah could be linked to the fucking Forge of Origination for precision extermination of things like N'Zoth, why didn't the Titans fucking do that originally? Let me give a quick PSA to the whole of the Warcraft community that doesn't actually fucking read. Or even if they do read, perhaps don't remember the specific quotes from books like Chronicle. My favorite book of all time, one that Taliesin definitely never gives me shit about. So, in Chronicle Volume 1, after Yasharaj is ripped out of the planet by Aman'Thul, this is what the community thinks. They think that the Titans can't kill old gods because it will hurt the planet. Can we just get a fucking... Let me just give you a direct quote of what Chronicle Volume 1 says. It says, and I quote, "The Titans recognized that they could not kill old gods in this manner." Those three words are very important. In this manner. Because the manner in which they killed Yasharaj was by ripping him out of the world. That is to say, the old gods can be killed. They just couldn't rip them out. So why the fuck didn't they find other ways to kill them? We literally just found a way to do it. We just used a precision funneled beam of Azeroth's power to destroy N'Zoth. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe it did work, and N'Zoth went exactly where we wanted him to, or where he wanted him to. I don't fucking know. All I know is that if that really is it, and we just funnel together some beamy nice power and we just shoot it at N'Zoth, it's gonna be pretty fucking lame. But I have a feeling there's still more coming. I'm gonna be honest. I think there's still some more stuff on the horizon. I still think we go to the Shadowlands. Whenever that happens, I'm not sure. But the whole stuff about the Lich King, pretty interesting. You know, I was just doing a quest on RuneScape last night. It's a new one, yeah. OSRS. Shout out to my boys if you play OSRS. And in this quest, it's a very Norse-themed quest where it's called the Fremennik Exiles. And essentially, the Jormungand, which is heavily based off of Jormungandr from Norse mythology, which is the world serpent. He's essentially released, and it brings about the end of things. It's supposed to anyway. When Jormungand is released, the end of things begins. Does that sound familiar to you? Like the end of all things, like Argus, who started to trigger the end of all things? It's still coming, I'm telling you. It's funny, because in the quest, after you defeat Jormungand, Brund, the chieftain of the Relica civilization, he says to you, well, your character says to him, you're like, well, how do we know that the end hasn't already started? Like, we defeated Jormungand, sure, but how do we know the end isn't already beginning? And Brund is like, if it were, we would have already noticed. Let's go drink and celebrate. And all I could do is sit there and think, man, that really reminds me of World of Warcraft. So Argus is risen, begins casting the end of all things. Maybe isn't entirely successful, but we're just supposed to believe that that's over. That the end of all things, Ragnarok, isn't here, isn't approaching. I still think that it is. I think that's still part of Sylvanas' long game. So after N'Zoth is now defeated as well, we'll just use N'Zoth as the example. We're just going to pretend like it's all fine and dandy, and we're safe, nothing else is going on. Come on now. Let us not be so naive. There's more here. There's more at play here. And I'm sure that BlizzCon 2019 will reveal that. I will be there, by the way. It's going to be very exciting. And perhaps the cutscene leads into a mythic phase. Who fucking knows? Maybe N'Zoth is totally vaporized and we have no explanation as to where he went. But you know, someone did point out to me that it is much like the Dragon Soul. We funnel all this power through a conduit, one device that is used to shoot a fucking beam of light into Deathwing's chest and apparently kills Deathwing. Remember, N'Zoth corrupted Deathwing and gave him the fiery lava power that he had. Which now makes a little more sense, considering it's rather evident that N'Zoth also had that power. Which makes me wonder, where did N'Zoth get a flaming core, a flaming head? But we destroy him, and apparently Deathwing is supposed to be gone. I'm not so sure about that, because I've seen some stuff regarding Deathwing since the fall of Deathwing that kind of leads me to believe that he's actually still around. Then you have to consider also that the 15th anniversary is a Deathwing mount. And Rathian's coming into the story heavily again too. We still have yet to see the Dragon Isles, so we don't really know what's going on there. And while many of the leaks have been proven wrong, several of them in fact, one of them did mention this idea that the Curse of Flesh was heavily linked to what we would find on the Dragon Isles when and if we do go there. Who knows if that's going to be true. A lot of these leaks have proven to be completely incorrect. But there's definitely a little bit more going on here, I think. I mean, Il'gynoth prophesies the fall of his master, right? And there's obviously prophecy regarding Sylvanas, and ravens, and death, and fucking Muzela. So the Shadowlands stuff, I think, is kind of on the brink of approach here. The fact of the matter is that the Titans knew all this shit was going to happen. Hero unit, speaker, designation speaker, the Heart of Azeroth protocol, the Heart Chamber, this linking of Nalek Shah and the Forge of Virgination. They fucking knew this shit was going to happen. They probably knew about most of the stuff Sargeras was going to do. But I digress. The point is, there's more at play here. I think the Legion still has a hand in what's going on. And I have yet to hear anything about Void Lords. Man, for the old gods serving the Void Lords, you'd think they'd probably mention them at some point or another. But no, never do they. But I'm going to stop rambling. I just wanted to talk about this cinematic because as it stands, if there's no high-res cinematic to finish up this raid, or there's nothing kind of hidden around the corner, I don't really know how I feel about this. I would say I'm a little disappointed. If like this is it, and this is like all there is for N'Zoth, I'm going to be really disappointed. And let's be honest, I don't want to be a pessimist, but based on Blizzard's track record, pardon me, it probably is. But we just have to hope, hope being so important, that it's not, and that there's more at play here, because I think that'd be super fucking lame. And again, the Il'gynoth stuff prophesizing it kind of makes me feel like it's kind of inevitable that there's going to be more. So that is it for me, you guys, on this video at least. I appreciate you guys very much for watching. Please leave a positive rating on this video with a like if you enjoyed it, as it's the best way to know that you enjoy my content here on YouTube. And subscribe for more like this in the future. Guys, we are well on the way to complete domination of the universe. No, really, but the goal is 100,000 subs. We are 76% of the way there. So if you want to subscribe and help me along that journey to get my silver play button from YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys don't know, I do have a Twitter, twitter.com/pyromancersarg, where you can follow me. I do tweet about lore stuff. Been kind of backing off of it a little bit lately because I've only been using it on my computer as opposed to having the app on my phone. I do have a Twitch, twitch.tv/pyromancer, where you will likely find me streaming a little bit later today. I've not streamed in a while, so I should probably get on that. And lastly, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/pyromancer, where if you would like to help support me and my girlfriend and my place here, you can throw $1, $4, $10, whatever amount of dollars you want my way per month to help support my content and me. There'll be links to all those things down in the description below. With that, once again, I will say I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay awesome. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the Shadowlands. Peace! By the way, BlizzCon's in a week. Week and a half? 2 weeks? I'm fucking hyped, dudes. I'm fucking super hyped. It's gonna be fucking insane!